Last night was a special occasion for Joey Daccord and ASU hockey as a whole because the Arizona Coyotes welcomed them in the best way. Let's talk about it.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I'm your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson.
Howdy.
I want to thank everyone for making today's show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcast. I also want to let everyone know that today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper, done in the Sleeper app. And use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. Get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. We got a great show on today's episode, Matthew, because the Arizona Coyotes won last night. Solid win over the Seattle Kraken. It wasn't a perfect win, but they got it done.
If we're sitting here waiting for the perfect win, we're going to keep waiting and keep waiting. But it was funny how we'll have to keep a running tally of it because, to my knowledge, I'll have to double check. It's been 2 games now against Chicago and now Seattle that the Coyotes have surrendered a goal within the first minute of the game. So far, again, until I double check this, they are undefeated when they surrender a goal in the first minute. So I propose no starting goaltender. For the first 60 seconds of every single hockey game, you start with 6 skaters, and the Coyotes will then go undefeated for the rest of the year.
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up. Maybe that's the thing. Just let you know, it's like we talked about the team, having struggles playing with the lead. Mm-hmm. Maybe the solution is play from behind.
Here's a better solution. We're scoring 3 goals a game. Instead of pulling the goalie, just go to the ref and say, I'd like to award the other team 2 goals to start. So that way they have the mindset of they are down. They got to play desperate dog hockey.
Gotta love those hypotheticals. If in real though, like it shouldn't have to be that way, but it's interesting the Coyotes end up going that way. Mm-hmm. And I think I kind of want to bring it up. But might as well bring it up now to kind of mention it since it's kind of like within that same topic. And I think it was like Mike Gould who posted it on Twitter. He kind of said it perfectly. He said it's like he said that good teams find ways to win, kind of like no matter how odd the win is. The Coyotes are doing that.
Yeah, and after finding ways to lose a couple of times, it's good to want to form the habit the other way around. And also, good teams bounce back. Good teams won't dwell on a 10-1, 10-2 loss, and then let the losses keep flowing. They bounce back.
Oh, we're gonna keep bringing that up. That is just honestly, I want to give credit to the Sharks. They broke it. They stopped the losing. They got 1 win.
They beat Philadelphia. That's the equivalent to me slapboxing a child.
No, for real though. Imagine being the first team, Philadelphia, to lose to the Sharks this season. Like,
wait until Edmonton does it. Everyone's gonna have a blast when that one happens.
Oh yeah, that's right. Edmonton is also that bad.
Who would have thought the Coyotes were better than Connor McDavid this year? I'm just saying. We're better than Bedard. We're better than McDavid.
You know what's funny?
Maybe the reason the Coyotes can't have these players. We're too good. It's cheat code.
It's funny too because if you saw the preseason predictions like on like ESPN or TNT, everyone was like, "Who's gonna win the Pacific Division? Edmonton, 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 Edmonton," and it was just like, "Well, now."
Yeah, I think we got a little off topic, didn't we? We're a little too excited to trash talk.
I know. It's the way we do things here on Locked On Coyotes. We like to segue the tangent a little bit to trash talk to kind of make ourselves feel better. But you know what? A win is a win. Again, we can still celebrate over that.
Let me do one of my patented. Let's just blast through the scoring summary to lead us into the break, and then we'll kind of break down a little more of what we saw. So, scoring summary. Tolvanen is third from Gordon Alexiak, 40 seconds in. I think that's the exact same mark that Connor Bedard got his goal to. Matthias Pacelli answers back at 6:07, his second from Bukestad and Dermott. Heading to the second period on the power play at 3:59, Barrett Hayton. This was originally Clayton Keller is fifth from Schmaltz and Dursey. Hayton ends up tipping it in. They give it to him, I think, at the start of the third period. More on that in a minute. Then you have Schultz, 4:57. So within a minute, we're now tied again. Third period, Schwartz, his sixth on the power play at 1:16. It's 3-2 Seattle. Before on the power play, the Coyotes answer back 42 seconds later. Clayton Keller is fifth from Schmaltz and Dursey. The second exact power play goal, exact same line. Clayton Keller wanted that fifth goal back. So I guess we had enough to spread the love. Nothing in overtime. Nick Schmaltz, that's it. His shootout shot is blocked. Bjorkstrand, it's blocked. Nick Bukestad. We'll have to ask this question in the third segment, but Bukestad scores his. Benares does not. Keller doesn't. Everlay doesn't. 4-3 finish for the Arizona Coyotes. 1-0 technically in the shootout. And they did a good job immediately answering back. And then anytime Seattle got the lead back or Seattle would get back on the board, they'd answer right back. So at the very least, they did that.
What was the term that we used a while ago? Rope-a-yote?
Oh, the Nasher would call like rope-a-dope?
Yeah.
That reminds me, I gotta find that hockey card. He left. I saw him at the arena the other day. He left a hockey card in the press box in Glendale, and someone gave me that card because they're like, "Hey, you're a Coyotes fan, I guess." And I'm like, "Hey, I keep forgetting to bring this in." He's like, "I'm not missing it. You're taking that back. I'm finding it. I will find you, and you're taking that card back."
I would love to see that.
Follow on Twitter for more.
Anyways, we'll continue to break it down, kind of talk a little bit more about this game. Get a little talk about Joey Daccord's homecoming. We'll get to all that in just a little bit. But first, a quick word from our sponsors on today's show.
And today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit available only for U.S. customers.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Logan Cooley could get the Calder Trophy. The Arizona Coyotes could make the playoffs again. And you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you could win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you got to do is just pick whatever players you think are going to win that 100 times your money. Play alongside your friends, and not just for football, not just for hockey, rather. You can do for NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, even, all on the Sleeper app. And get into groups, talk with those groups, connect with other fans. Entries can be made in under a minute. All you got to do is pick whether or not studs like, let's say, Logan Cooley, or let's say Connor Bedard on the Blackhawks will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, plus, minus, and more in a given game to win 100 times bet on Sleeper. All you need to do is correctly predict the outcome of 8 players' stats. And once again, you heard me, Coyotes fans, you can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Once again, that's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Let's continue, Matthew, talking about the Arizona Coyotes win over the Seattle Kraken. Joey Daccord makes his homecoming to ASU back at the Mullett, and he takes the L for it, though.
Well, I mean, technically, he made his homecoming last year. I think the second game that was hosted here for Seattle, but he didn't play. So he was just kind of hanging out in the hallway. Beforehand, he got to talk to the ASU players before their practice and whatnot. And in a lot of ways, it kind of is the house that Joey built, because he was kind of one of the integral pieces when this team was a very young program. But
I mean,
he
he is the first Sun Devil to make it to the NHL, I believe, at least in recent years.
It's him and Brinson Pashishtuk, but I think Brinson was a couple years.
Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I always thought it was Pasnachuk, but then whenever Nick Pinkerton of Twisted Wrister Hockey said it was Pashishtuk,
I've always thought it was
makes a lot of sense.
When he was on Tucson, I always said Pasnachuk, the other one too. So I was.
So he played for the Sharks for like a few games.
Yeah, when he came to Tucson with the Barracuda, I was like, that's what I thought it was. But
anyway, so he gets to start today. Current ASU goaltender TJ Septenfelter, as well as other couple players were there to support him, but 24 saves, 3 goals against, .889 save percentage. He ends up losing in the shootout. The Coyotes made a joke on socials, which is why I kind of repeated the joke. But at the same time, it's the fact that Joey is a full-time NHLer at this point, and the only real claim to fame, quote unquote, for the program in terms of a full-time NHLer. It's a huge accomplishment, and it's definitely significant that he gets to start at Mullett Arena. And it was cool. It's cool to see, because I'm pretty sure he still has a Sparky on his helmet. At least he did last year.
I guess I didn't pay attention to that. That'd be an interesting little tidbit if you were to take a closer look. But
I'll have to double check that. While you fill up some time, I'll look for Joey Daccord's helmet.
But no, I think that's pretty cool, and I mean that he was able to play a game on the the rink that of his former team that ended up again. He never played there when he was with ASU, but still freaking playing at Oceanside at the time. If anyone remembers freaking how cold Oceanside is and just how freaking run down that place was. Oh God, never again, Oceanside Arena. I visited multiple times. Coldest rink in America. Anyways, but no, I'm glad he was able to get that and kind of I'm sure he got a chance to probably maybe do something while back at ASU. That's. I mean, if I were to go back to my college as a professional athlete, and be playing like kind of just like play in that area or play in that town or whatever it might be, I'm 100% reaching out to those players of that team and kind of like talking with them and doing all stuff like that, or just doing anything, having that fun again.
Yeah, and apparently, unfortunately, I can't find that picture again. I thought Craig Morgan was showing it on a PHNX article last year. I'll do a little more digging, but I thought it was really cool. He got to talk to the boys and obviously Sun Devil for life and all that. But it's definitely interesting that he never actually got to play there, because it was built I think 3 years after he was out of college. But he's also the most successful Sun Devil to pro level. So a little not bittersweet, but interesting little how things work out in the real world, I suppose.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then you got to just be. And then once again, like I said, you just gotta in some ways, just gotta kind of be, you could be happy that he was happy for him that he was able to get that experience.
Yeah. Speaking of goalies, you want to talk about Connor Ingram?
Connor Ingram's been fantastic. 35
saves. What was that I said in the last show? What was that I said in the last show? 35, was it 32 or 35? I don't remember. But 35 saves for the kid. 3 goals against, .921 save percentage.
Did you make that under our bonus bets?
I said what's the over-under on it, and you said they didn't have the over-under on it. So I said, well, I think he's going to get like 35 saves. Is it 32 or 35? I think I said 35. I should not be allowed to gamble, because I guarantee if I actually put forth money every single time we did these segments, I would have already retired from the show. At this point, with how good I have been, and this is literally me just following my gut or making a logical assumption. And I've still got stuff wrong, like Logan Cooley, who's first off on a negative point streak right now, 2 games, no points. I guess he's a bust or something like that because we have to overreact to every little thing. But like, it's literally just me making either logical assumptions or just whatever my gut, whatever the pizza processor down here tells me to guess.
You know what's funny, actually, speaking of which, really quick, I had someone have the audacity to tell me that they're not sold on Logan Cooley yet and that they don't think he's going to be that great.
I can see the criticisms of him not really shooting as much as you'd like. I can see the criticism, is it Jordan or I am terrible with first names, but Nick Schmaltz's brother, Roadrunners legend, Jay Schmaltz, was there for the last couple games, and he was talking about Cooley and how he's putting himself in kind of some unfavorable positions in board battles and a couple other small things. That's stuff that while it's valid, is stuff that he's going to have to learn over the course of his couple years. He'll learn. I just with the upside we've already seen how good he is with the puck, and I wish he would shoot more. I still wish they'd separate him on the power play. I'm not going to stop banging on about that. I think Cooley can lead his own power play, not the primary unit, the secondary unit. But there's so much upside already. He's already shown a good amount of that at the NHL level. I just don't see how you can see him as anything less than, at worst, second line center scoring 40 some odd points a year at worst.
Oh, absolutely. I just feel like this, the kid, which is why, I was surprised when this person had the audacity to tell me that, because I'm like, this kid has a high floor, let alone a high ceiling.
Yeah.
So
he's only not going to make it if he chooses not to. He has all the talent. I always bring up guys like Mueller and Turris because those are the high talented prospects I grew up watching. But the difference between like Cooley and one of those players is Cooley has even more talent. He has all of the tool set, and he's just better. It's going to be whether or not he wants it. And
completely also surpassing the other third overall pick in Dylan Strome.
We pick on Stromer too much, man. He is better than Dylan Strome. No, I'm not denying.
And it's nothing against Dylan Strome. Dylan Strome's a fine player. But third overall good, it's not.
And that's something where that needs to be a criticism of the people drafting him. I think Maloney, that was his last draft. That's a criticism of the franchise, of the GM, of the scouting department, not of the player, because players don't pick where they're drafted. That's a blunder on the Coyotes.
Yeah.
And way too many people blame Stromer. And it's like, well, when you're playing for a team that doesn't want you and a fan base that hates you, and you're still like all these little things that he was doing right, I wouldn't want to be here either.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing too. Is like I said, is like that's what the comparison is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
This third overall pick and the most recent third overall pick by the Coyotes. Like that's just not fair to Strome, but. It's just the way things happened.
Can we talk about Barrett Hayton?
Yeah.
Can we talk about Barrett Hayton getting his first goal
of the
season? Should have been his second, but with Nick Schmaltz was offside against the Kings. So I guess Schmaltz owes him a beer for that one. But Barrett Hayton's in his mid-20s. He's fine. He can drink. But Barrett Hayton finally gets the monkey off his back, and I think I said it on this show a couple of times, but I want to reiterate it just in case I didn't. I'm pretty sure I did. He very much is probably always going to be a slow starter. I think it's the last 2 or 3 years in a row. It's taken him at least 10 games to get that first point, a little bit over 10 games. So October, Barrett Hayton probably doesn't exist. But when we're talking about everything else he does, everything else he brings, I still think second line center is the perfect role for him. If that's your third line center, you have a very good team, an excellent depth down the middle. But he's a player that does all the small things. He drives that net front presence. He was bound to start getting them. And typically when he scores his bunches. So I would not be surprised if over the next 5 or so games he pots another goal or two and another couple assists.
Yeah, that's why I've always kind of just in general referred to him as a top 9 player. He's definitely better than that, but like top 9 because like I feel like, you know, with the depth of the Coyotes and how the way it's going to be coming up, you know, if you have him at third line center, like that's, you know, like that kind of just tells you where the depth is because he's a great center and he's going to be there at third line. Like that's insane. I'm with you that I feel like second line is perfect for him. Like, you know, if you can get Cooley up to that first line, I'd be with
Obviously,
that.
once Cooley earns it,
once Cooley earns it, yeah, no, yeah. I'm saying like I'm saying down the road. Down the road. You know, once Cooley gets up there and earns it, you know, have Hayton that second. If there's another center, another like superstar center that comes up and gets that second line center, fine. Hayton goes to third, but that's a good issue to have.
Yes, it's a very good issue that Jack McBain can't get himself off the fourth line because Boehner's been a solid bottom six center for us. So it's a good problem to have. I just want to make sure that no matter what, because he takes way too much criticism, and I don't get it. But Hayton does. He does everything, all the little things you could ask of him. The points just aren't going to be there at the start of the season, and they typically really start to ramp up closer to a playoff push. Because like last year, if you map the timeline when he started blowing up, it was in the playoff push kind of timeline for the NHL.
Maybe he just loves March hockey.
He's a big fan of March Madness.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. It's like March Madness, but with hockey, with professional hockey. Let's do it.
Anyway, we will get to our closing thoughts on this game after a brief word from today's sponsor on the show. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if the Cardinals manage to win a game. K1's coming back. Better the Cardinals if you're foolish. But anyway, if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get into the action. The app is easy to use, a wide range of betting options from spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Let's get back to today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. Once again, I want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. As a reminder, you can tune into every Coyotes game and listen to their hometown broadcast on the Sirius XM radio app or Sirius XM in your car. Yes, I see that Locked On Cooley, but all you gotta do is search up Coyotes on the Sirius XM app. If you need help finding the channel on your in your car, start with radio channel 219 and go up from there. Those are all the play-by-play channels for the NHL. Anyways, let's get back to this, Matthew. Final closing thoughts before we look at the road ahead, and then talk a little bit about women's hockey.
Yeah, very briefly. So the Coyotes, I'm getting a little annoyed with how much they are behind in terms of shots per period. So 12-8 in the first, Seattle 10-10 in the second. So at least you even up a bit. 14-6 in the third, although overtime favored the Coyotes 3-2. Total shots 38-27. I know this team likes to play from behind in so many aspects. I know this team is used to not shooting the puck as much, but at some point, especially, and I do want to talk about this at some point, maybe I can convince Robyn to do a bonus episode, maybe not. But if you end up trading one of these two goaltenders, you cannot risk one of them breaking down. So you need to actually protect your goalies a little bit more, a little less pressure on them. But that's one thing that it's been a thing this entire rebuild, and it goes along with the learning to play with a lead type mentality. It's a thing that needs to improve over time. And we're not at the point where it's going to, eliminate them from the playoffs because they're not a playoff team yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. Although the face-off percentages, keeping it tight. Power plays are 2 for 4 last night. Seattle's 1 for 3. So Coyotes would have rather had that one goal back, but it is what it is. Hits 24-18, getting out hit by their opponent, but they're still blocking more shots, 15 versus 11. it's just Seattle. I hate to say it was probably the better, more hardworking team, but the Coyotes, because that's what the Coyotes do, find a way to win this game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just finding ways to win despite some shortcomings. Like it's interesting. And again, like I said before, my goal said, good teams find ways to win, no matter how odd.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of frustrating Seattle fans. They're finally scoring 3 goals a game and then lose to the Coyotes.
Yeah. Anyways, though, let's take a really quick look at the road ahead. Kind of just to let you people know what's coming up for the Arizona Coyotes as they're on the road for the next 3, 4, 5 games. They got the Blues, the Predators, the Stars, the Blue Jackets, and the Jets before coming home to host the.
I love playing games in Atlanta. Atlanta's nice this time of year, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, they got a nice airport too.
Great airport. But
unlike Winnipeg, got no airport.
But it's weird that I'll finally get actually, unfortunately, I'll probably get 6 a.m. starts at work again. But on this 5-game road trip, 2 games immediately stick out as winnable: Nashville and St. Louis. And
absolutely.
I think you got to start off this road trip 2-0. Dallas, I hate the Stars. I will never bet for them. I have not been confident in this team for the last 3 years. I never bought into it. They still keep winning. The Coyotes are not winning that game.
No.
They can't.
If they find a way to win that, I will be shocked. We'll talk about it when we get to that. But
I'll say it on the show right now. If they beat Dallas, I will do that post game shirtless. I am not lying. I will do that post game shirtless if they beat Dallas, because they're not beating Dallas, and I hate it. Then you got Columbus, who's an interesting case where I feel like that should be winnable, but the team, I've been following very, very, very passively. The team seems like they're not quite playing up to potential, but they're not playing poorly either. So it's a game that should be winnable, but you can't take them lightly.
That will be a battle between the 2 most recent 3rd overall picks.
Isn't it
Adam Cooley versus Fantilli? Yeah, Cooley versus Fantilli.
2 college kids. I like it. And then you get to go to Atlanta.
Minnesota versus Michigan. Ooh.
No, you ended off in Atlanta, and I think since they beat you at home, you got to beat them in their building, because
their non-sold out crowd.
And their non-sold out crowd. Basically, you're playing in Jobby.com Arena again, but this time the seats are blue and not red. So this road trip, the Coyotes realistically, genuinely should exit at least 2-2-1, because I have a feeling one of the last 3 games, Dallas, Columbus, or Winnipeg, I'm leaning towards Columbus, might be an overtime loss. I think they should beat Winnipeg, but they managed to lose to that team at home. It depends. I think they should get that win and be 3-1-1 or 3-2-0 on the road trip. But at this point, they kind of have to prove they can beat Winnipeg, because the numbers showed Coyotes' favor, and tired legs, being ahead of themselves, or being, one step behind physically, whatever it was that led to the loss, doesn't really matter. The loss still happened.
Absolutely. Well, that's the look ahead. And I know we're probably going to go a little bit overtime on this one, but I do want to bring this up, Matthew, because it is tonight. So kind of get people ready.
USA.
Rivalry series is tonight at the Mullett. Team USA versus Team Canada women's hockey. Oh, it couldn't get better than this.
And also, if you go tonight, you get to watch the better nurse play. So I'm just saying, go watch the game tonight.
I mean, that's facts. Sarah Nurse is.
She is. It's facts. I'm not even trash talking at this point. It's just facts. She's the better nurse.
It is. No, you're absolutely correct. I like it. Like, watching Sarah Nurse is really fun to watch. She's a phenomenal hockey player.
And then I think for the American side, is Amanda Kessel on this roster, or is it just Hillary Knight of the notable names that most people would have heard of are on the roster for it? I haven't seen the rosters yet.
I want to say Amanda Kessel still, yeah, she's still on it.
So I mean, yeah, you have a couple of, like, marketable names to go watch, and it's high competition hockey. At least it should be high competition hockey. And to anyone, and this is not a knock on the PHF at all. I actually like the PHF overall.
mean
Before
now-
whatever it's doing right now.
Yeah.
But if you went to the championship game last year and were underwhelmed by the competition, the Team USA and Team Canada, this international team, has some of the best women's players that a lot of the times the women's professional leagues don't get. So you're going to see a higher level of competition tonight.
Again, and it's because it is the rivalry series. These teams hate each other's guts.
I love it.
That's what I love about it.
USA.
Like, I will. I can go as say far as it is a top 5 rivalry in professional in sports, in all sports.
USA Canada, baby. USA Canada.
Fantastic rivalry. Gotta love it. But that's tonight.
Definitely better than ASU U of A when you lose 16-0. There's another rivalry weekend this weekend, by the way. They're the club teams hosting the club team, so it might actually be competitive hockey for U of A.
Is that in Tucson or is it in Tempe?
I'm pretty sure it's a Tempe. Let me double check that. I saw it on the Instagram.
Because
I did not just say on the Instagram. I am showing my age. I
can't believe. Yeah. Yeah. Really quick. Let's take a look at that and actually see it because I thought it wasn't until later. Oh no, it is
game week, and because they're charging $20 a ticket. So hey, I guess if you want to go watch that, I think it's Saturday. Have fun.
Saturday at 7:30. I could probably do that and then go play my game later.
I'm gonna be there regardless because there's a real ASU game that night.
Wow.
I'm kidding. The D1 kids seem like good kids.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. Maybe maybe on Saturday. Have my U of A shirt.
You see Robyn throw eggs at her.
Eggs.
Like you're not welcome here. we don't take kindly to cats around here.
Anyways, any final thoughts before we close things off officially?
No pity for the kitty.
Anyway, that's going to be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, to like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube, on the Sirius XM app, and ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn_Leonio. Matthew Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask the question you might have. We might answer right back or in a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.